I just was surprised she said she was coming. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
Stream has
maybe she'll
started.
pop in.
All right, stream. I think we're good to go.
Okay, I think we are live now. Yes, looks like we are. All right. Welcome to the candidate interview for our new potential treasurer for Anime Twin Cities. You will see we have the chat disabled for this. This isn't really a meeting, this is an interview, but the audience is allowed to participate in the form of submitting questions. We have created a Google form. You can find the link to it in the description if you would like to submit a question for Jeanette. Um, and with that, we can go ahead and get started with Jeanette's opening statement.
Okay. Well, my name is Jeanette Wallen. I've gone by Nettie W at Anime Twins or Anime Detour. So basically, I just kind of wrote a personal statement. I have participated at Anime Twin Cities major event Anime Detour since 2008. I started out as a parent chaperone and volunteered in various departments throughout the convention cycles from 2008 to 2012. I decided to join Anime Detour staff in 2012 to have a greater say in how the convention is run and to add to the sustainability of this annual event. With the many changes throughout the years, I have seen the importance of having a strong parent company, Anime Twin Cities. Applying for the Anime Twin Cities treasurer position, I hope that my life experiences and background will help bring a fresh perspective to the established ATC organization and board. What I would like and desire to see for the future is I wish to see repair and healing in the organization. As in my work and personal life, I try to stay out of drama situations. I like to try to stay open minded and keep my judgments to myself until all parties involved have been fully represented. Even afterwards, my opinions may differ from the majority. What I'd like to also see is a deeper communication throughout the organization and meeting attendees. In my current workplace, there's posters that implore employees to ask clarifying questions. Since I am a curious person by nature, I already will ask questions until I am satisfied with the explanation. And I would hope that anyone that has heard, seen, read about anything involving the past convention cycle will ask those clarifying questions. And that's kind of all I really wrote. Oh, we have Sky.
Yes, it looks like Sky and Alyssa hopped on while you were giving
Yeah.
your speech. So, yay, thank you for
Close
coming,
the other
everyone.
screen, so I didn't see anyone.
It's okay.
Hello.
All right. So with that, then we will go ahead and dive into the questions from the board. Um, so the first question is, what experience do you have that you feel makes you a good fit for this role?
Well, I mean, I wrote down some notes, so I'll partially be kind of reading them, so I don't necessarily look directly at the camera. But I currently actually organize the shared household bills for my fiance and I. I created a spreadsheet with our kind of all of our bills and our due dates and payment dates and amounts. So that's kind of what I do in my personal life. Um, I also have served as a chair for my National Society for Histotechnology. It's a my professional organization. I was the chair of the Budget and Finance Committee for a year, and I currently serve as the treasurer for our Minnesota Society for Histotechnology. Um, and then I've also taken accounting courses during my pursuit of my MBA, which I received in 2019. I graduated. And then I also managed QuickBooks for a small business that my fiance owned together. So I have familiarity with that.
That's very good because
Wonderful.
I use
That's a lot.
QuickBooks every month for financials.
I'm still learning sometimes. Sometimes I have to delete and start all over. And then, you reconcile and you're like, oh, wait, something's missing. And so I keep learning each year that I use it.
Okay. Um, and can you tell us about a time you managed a budget for an organization and what did you learn from that experience?
So I was a chair for the National Society's Budget and Finance Committee. Part of it was what I learned was, what people found important, like what line items seemed important to some people, and then you just have to explain or, clarify what those expenses are for. Hopefully, people understand why the money attached to that expense um, is the amount it is, and then just working with different people and learning how to explain financial statements a little easier for other people. I still am learning. I'm always a learner too. I'd like to take tips and ask people for help. So those are kind of my experiences learning, and organizing. Just my current treasurer position for our Minnesota Society too is there's a lot of resources out there, and you have to kind of keep up to date on different laws. We're I think we're a nonprofit, but we're not a 501c3.
Okay. And then how would you stay updated on relevant regulations and compliance requirements for 501c3 organizations?
Pretty much, I sign up for like newsletters or I sign up for updates. So a lot of times that's how I keep, my email will tell me, hey, especially with our small business sales tax, keep updating within Minnesota. So I have those. I think we have a CPA person that does our personal taxes and our business taxes. So I reached out to her for different advice questions too over the time. I guess, if there's other people who have resources too, I'd probably ask them, like, do you know other nonprofits too? I'm willing to ask and learn from other people. Like I said, just I don't I don't plan on just doing this all by myself.
Exactly. Okay. How do you help an organization plan its finances to support its long-term goals?
I think I would have to, I think it would have to be a collaborative uh, decision. You have to figure out what your long term goals. How would you physically get there with your budget? Um, I think the whole idea of, I guess, what are some of the long term goals for ATC, and that's kind of what I would need to understand, and you would help. I think there's different opinions of the importance. I think I wrote down, like, would the organization be looking to like increase membership, or are you looking to expand the space, but meeting space? Are you looking, what's your goal? What are these goals? And are they more short term, like within the first like 1 to 3 years, or are they more 3 and up years? Are we talking for long term? Um, so I think it's just I would need people to help make that decision. Um,
Totally. Yeah, I think we have some documents with long-term goals, but they haven't been updated so we should definitely go over those at some point.
mhm.
Um, okay. What steps do you take to make sure everything is done right with taxes, audits, and reports?
Well, I know for myself, when it comes to documents, I'm an overly detailed person. I work in the medical field, so part of it is just accuracy. I would check it over. I personally, we have for our taxes, we have a CPA, so the whole idea of using a professional. Um, I I know for our Minnesota Society, we have a person we send it off to for an annual audit. So hopefully there's some accountability like that within ATC for reporting, so that there is accuracy. 'Cause I can't assume that ATC keeps it within their own organization. You would need hopefully have some professional that looks it over.
I know
We
we,
do actually have at the end of every year, fiscal year, we do reach out. We do have two girls who do our accounting for us. So at the end of the year, we just send them all the documents they request and then they close our year for us.
Yep.
that's like accounting angel, right, Sky? I think is who we use.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and they do like the taxes and stuff, so yay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then how do you make financial reports easy to understand for people who don't work with numbers every day?
I mean, just like myself, my first day in accounting class, I was kind of like, I've seen these statements, but I don't really know what they mean. And I think part of it is just, I think people understand things differently. So I think part of it is understanding how they're asking the question or what they're trying to get at. Is part of my learning process and teaching process is, just keep asking until you both are understanding the same thing. And so I think that's how I would try to explain. If you've never looked at a financial statement, you kind of go line by line maybe and see if each title makes sense to a person. Do they understand where that money's going or what that title is? I don't know how you itemize, but I know when I first looked at our National Society budget, I was like, well, what's that for? And so it's like, utilities, phone, office supplies, just different titles like that. And some are a little more vague. So I think I guess I try to communicate in a way so both people understand.
Sorry, I muted myself. Okay, perfect. Um, yeah, I really like visualizations, but I know not everyone likes visualizations, so I don't know. So that is the prepared questions we had come up with. Did anyone just during the course of this conversation come up with any other questions they wanted to ask?
Looks like Bruce did.
Okay.
All right. So, Jet, this question right here is kind of more general. How would you deal with the conflict of interest due to personal relationships with a vendor of the organization that we utilize for equipment rentals?
Well, I mean, I guess my duty is to the organization. It's not the relationship to the vendor. I have the same thing happen to me so I am on a committee with National Society, and I have other committees that I belong to, like a parent. Well, it's not even a parent company. It's a credentialing organization called ASCP, and so serving on the NSH committee, I had to sign, paperwork that my duty falls with that organization first, not with other committees that I might serve on. So I guess if I don't know if that really answers your question, but my duty, I guess, to me is I'm to ATC.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, like, the treasurer isn't really the ones making the purchasing decisions. Like, they're just doing what's submitted for them, really.
There is some background to that
I
question.
guess I don't know. Yeah.
so
Just not trying to reveal, just not trying to get into personal information that doesn't need to be known. But
no, I get it.
All right.
I don't mind. I mean, I feel like I'm an open book, so I don't want to.
no worries.
I want to be transparent about myself. And I mean, I'm handling this like more like a chat. It's like that's how I handle most interviews. Is we're having a conversation. It's not like, what's your strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah. Okay, so if that is all the questions we as the board have, we can go ahead and go over to questions submitted by people in the audience. Have we received any questions? I believe Allie is the one in the spreadsheet. It might be Hope. I'm not sure. Okay, standing by.
All right. For the first question submitted, how did you find out about this position and what made you want to apply for it?
Well, I actually found out about this position when I was applying for a department head interview. That there was a potential for that. Basically, Sky had other commitments that were pulling her away from being fully committed to it. I totally understand that we're all volunteers, we're all busy, and I have experience doing treasurer work, so I guess that's kind of where I was. Hey, if you need me, I can apply for it. So that's how I found out about it.
All right. How do you plan to balance your time between the demands of the ATC board and other things in your life? So like your job, other things like that.
Well, I have a very color coded calendar. If anyone wants to take a look at that, that's basically how I schedule my life. It's like a lot of it has to be put in as an appointment. So if it, if there's treasurer duties that have a deadline, that's kind of what I have currently as other treasurer duties for my professional organization. So that's, I guess, how I budget my time is it's a lot of blocks of color, my calendar.
It's a good way to stay organized. Use the rainbow. It's nice.
Yep, each color has a meaning. So you get, I think, anime Twin Cities gets peach on my calendar.
Less. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a ton of people watching, so there might not be any more questions. Not sure.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what we've got for them. We can give it another minute or two to see if anyone else submits, but otherwise, we can close the form and call it a night.
I mean, if other people want to apply, totally.
Yeah, we've had the position listed, I think, since July, so
Yeah.
the first one I've been able to talk into applying for it.
Yeah.
So I
And
appreciate you.
well, I think I like the idea of having an assistant too. I don't think any
Mhm.
position, I mean, it's almost like an understudy because that's happening right now in my Minnesota society is that I'm I'm now the immediate past president, and I feel like I'm being pulled into the president role because some of the people who are now, president and president elect are not taking an active role, and I want our organization to stay active. So I'm like, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep it going.
Exactly.
So I understand volunteerism, and I like volunteering. Yeah.
It's fun. Keeps you busy.
Well, I'm an empty nester at this point. My daughter's a grown up, so I mean, it's just myself and my fiance and my cat. So there's not a lot of obligations of like, hey, what else do you do? So it's like volunteer or go back to school again,
Mhm.
get another degree.
Anything new come in?
I figure
No.
it's kind of early. It's like you kind of said it was like a half hour board, half hour, so I don't know.
There
hasn't been
I mean,
Yeah, there hasn't been anything new in a while, so I went ahead and turned the form off. So
Okay. Yeah.
it
I
seems like
wasn't
that's
sure
what
if
we're
it
going to
was
get for questions tonight.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I wasn't sure. Like some people, when a meeting's like, oh, it's half an hour. Okay, I'll sign in half an hour after the board has their time with the person. So.
Well, and I think the communication that went out to the public was just the interview starts at 7, so that's about it. So, yeah, with that, then we will go ahead and get the election link out to all of our voting members tomorrow morning. And then because it is a special election, the link will stay open for 7 days to give people a chance to get their votes in. And then we will announce the results after the form closes. And we will go from there. So thanks for joining us, everyone.